And it could be something like you're saying everything right, you sound fantastic, but you're missing the part where you clear the schedule, and that's why all your appointments no-show. Welcome to the call. This is the FFL Gloves Off Agency call. I'm Josh Lockhart, Vice President, here with my wife, Michelle Lockhart. Why Gloves Off? That's the name of the agency, because when you got some work to do, you got to take your gloves off and get your hands dirty. So anyway, what we're going to talk about today, and I might grab one of you guys or anybody and hop on, and maybe we'll talk about this role play or go through a few things here in a little bit. But I want to talk about the phones. I want to talk about an ideal dial day, maybe some things that people struggle with, what you can do, and just everything that we do here. 80% of it is the phones. I mean, you can be the best closer. You can be, you always have the right things to say. You're a people person, but if you can't get in front of anybody, it's all for nothing, right? And so conversely, if you're not that great in the home, you're not that great on the other aspects of the business. If you're good enough on the phone and you can get in front of people, then hey, you can make up with numbers what you lack in any kind of skill. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about, the ideal dial day. All right, I know some people are doing telesales, some people are doing in homes. We'll kind of touch a little bit on both, but my kind of general advice to anybody coming in to the business is to at least minimum get a few weeks in the field, in the home, right? And then if you want to transition to telesales, by all means. Why do I say that? Well, I say that because not because I don't believe in you or think that you can do it or anything like that. There's just some things that especially if you're a hands-on learner, right? Like I'm a hands-on learner. Like I can read the book, I can watch the video, but like I need to get in there and kind of feel it out. And whether it be underwriting, hey, which product should I write here? It's really hard to hang up the phone while you're on a telesale and call somebody for some assistance, because they might just hang up on you. But in the home, it's no problem, right? Or maybe you're not the most techie person, and going through the e-apps kind of give you a little bit of trouble, right? Well, if you're on the phone, you're taking too long, you can't figure it out. It's really difficult to pause, right? But when you're in the house, you're there. They're probably going and grabbing you some water or coffee anyway. You're just hanging out, right? So you probably heard the saying that you can make up in numbers what you lack in skill, which is true, and we'll talk about that. But when you're in the home, you can make up in skill what you lack in numbers, right? It's a little bit harder to do that on the phone. Now, should you not do telesales? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, starting out, my general advice, start in the home and, really get to know the customers that you're dealing with, the people that you're dealing with. And then, you can do hybrid, you can transition, do whatever you want to do, whatever works best for you in your situation. That's just some general advice. All right. So with that said, that's where we're going to start is, the phone, setting appointments in the home, a couple things to consider and look over. But even before we get there, right? Even before we get there, if you guys would indulge me and maybe, use the chat, right? So if you've dialed the phone in FFL to set appointments, some people are just in the getting started phase. And if you've dialed the phone and set some appointments or attempted to set appointments, in the chat, just type me, just so I know, who's done it and who hasn't. So we'll know who we're talking to, right? Just type me. So thank you. Right. And so if you've done that, maybe it went well, maybe you wish it did better. So here's some things that have really helped me out into just setting up to make sure I'm having a great dial day. Now, of course, I'm full-time in the business. So my goal each dial day is to set 15 plus appointments, 30 appointments a week, right? And that's going to enable me to help 10 families a week or more, right? And so, 15 appointments is not, it's super doable. Had plenty of days where I've done way more than that, 18, 20, 22 appointments. But certainly it's not a small number of appointments, right? When you go out, you spend some time down the phone, you may have one or two appointments. If you're going to drive to those appointments, if you only have two, it's like, well, maybe one no shows. Now you only have one, and unless you have 100% closing ratio, I mean, you could certainly go home with a goose egg, right? And so you just want to put the numbers in your favor, obviously, especially if you're just getting started. And, you know, on a full-time basis, right? If you're, we just had a Hall of Fame training earlier. Hall of Fame, that's somebody that personally helps 400 families in a calendar year or more. You know, these folks are running 30 appointments a week, 30 appointments a week. You set 30, you probably sit on 20 of those, maybe 18 to 20 of those. You're going to have no-shows, reschedules, cancellations. It's going to happen. I don't care how good you are. And if you sell half of what you sit on, right, that's 10 families a week. All right. So that's the goal. Now, maybe you're just going to start your part-time, whatever. So you're going to have to kind of like, you know, change some numbers and some times around to fit you, but certainly like that's the spot you want to get to. Okay. So the first thing is I remember my first dial day. I think I started around 10 o'clock. I dialed all day. You know, I used the internet leads, CRM internet leads. Got those, dialed all day, used phone burner. And I don't remember exactly how many appointments I said. I said 12 or 15 appointments. But I saw these other people that were like setting more appointments. And by the time I'd already started dialing, they were already like 5, 6 appointments in. And so a lot of people sometimes will ask me, well, hey, what's the best time to set appointments? Maybe you've thought that. Maybe if I just dial during this time, right, I'm going to do the best. And my initial response to that is any time and any day that ends in Y is the best time to set appointments. Truly is, right? Like you go to anybody and they'll say, well, man, weekends are great because people are home. The weekdays are great because, you know, people that aren't working are home. Like people are home and they're answering the phone all the time. And honestly, I like when people answer the phone, they're at work and they don't have a lot of time to talk because they're not going to ask me a bunch of questions. They're just going to book an appointment. So during the workday is great too. But my favorite time to schedule appointments, you know, to be on the phone making dials is from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Right. And here's why. So some might say that, man, you have to really be disciplined to sit in a chair and make the necessary dials. And yes, that's true. Discipline is definitely required. But more importantly than that is getting momentum in your day. Getting momentum in your day. If you've ever, like business aside, if you ever woke up late, you know, you kicked the dog, you ran out of creamer in your coffee and you didn't have like the good creamer, you had like the old powdered creamer that's like in the back. And you just, yeah, Tanika, you know what I'm talking about, right? You just, the day you're like behind the 8 ball all day. And that kind of carries on throughout your whole day, right? Maybe I'm just talking to myself. Me and Tanika are having a conversation. Appreciate you. Right. But that's definitely the case on the phone. Right. So you wake up late, you know, you don't tack the day. You're kind of reactive all day. You feel like, man, I'm behind. You know, I have a certain number of appointments I'd like to get. I have a certain number of things I have to accomplish. God forbid you have a family and you got to go take care of, you know, kids and spouse and all the other aspects of life. And you're like, I don't have enough time in your day. Well, it's not because you're not disciplined, right? And again, we can all have a bad day. It's because you don't have any forward positive momentum in your day, right? So I like to start, we have live DAWs, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I like to be in my position at 7:30, right? I got my leads in front of me, right? So every day, let's see where it's at. It's right here. I have like which leads I'm going to dial first, then second, and then third. I have varying lead types. We'll talk about that. And so I already have my plan, right? It's not just like, oh, let me go grab some leads from the CRM and download them. And then you're trying to monkey around with phone burner, right? Because as soon as the clock dial hits 7:59 and 59 seconds AM, right? I'm dialing the phone. Now you can even dial the phone before that. But in terms of phone burner, right, it starts at 8 a.m. Anyway, and so what I noticed when I started doing that, right, by the time that a lot of other people started dialing, I'm already, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 appointments in. And, sometimes the day just throws stuff at you, right? You get off track, or somebody calls you, or something goes wrong, or, you have too much to eat at lunch and you get a little tired, whatever the case may be. Things can go wrong in the day, but since you started well, right, that's still going to carry you over, right? You're still ahead of the game. So that's important. Number two is people go to work at 9 o'clock, some at 8, some at 10, like whatever. People are moving around. They're going to, work in the morning. You know who helps starts to call at 9 and 10 o'clock? Telemarketers. They don't start calling at 8 a.m. That's weird, right? So if you want to set yourself apart, and we're going to talk about that, right? Dial in the morning, right? Because, telemarketers are going to be hitting them up all day. We all get the calls, the extended warranty, the school loans that we don't have, the credit cards that we may or may not have, right? Like, we're getting all those calls, but first thing in the morning, those people aren't calling them. Also, they're either getting ready for work, just getting up, moving around. They're not in work and, locked into their day. So you can catch people before they're already locked in and not answering their phones and meetings and lunch meetings and all the stuff going on in the world, right? So that 8 to 11 is like prime time. So on my schedule, every day, it's like from 8 to 11, in my mind, don't mess with me. I'm on a mission. I'm trying to get done. Ideally, I've had days where I've like booked up by 12 because I had such a fast start, right? And so I challenge you now, maybe you work a job in the morning, you can't do that, fine. But I challenge you, if you really want to set yourself up to win big, start earlier, right? So for me, I've had to start getting up at 4 o'clock because I like to go to the gym. It's crazy stuff. Got to get up, do that. And, I got the kids, get them off to school. I don't want to miss that time, right? So that's the deal on that. How many days a week do you dial? I'm going to hit that cat. Good question. So, having that early start, I know it sounds so simple, but I promise you, if you do that, you're going to set yourself up to have forward momentum. And then you're not going to have to use all that extra discipline and willpower to keep it going, because you're already kind of, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. Object at rest tends to stay in rest. Okay, great. So that's that. And again, phone burner, if you're not familiar with that, we'll talk about the different lead types here in a second. We'll talk about some scripts here in a second, but highly recommend it, right? Not using it is just trying to live a hard life for no particular reason, right? It's going to help you dial 3 times faster. It's going to be less work. I actually started using it years ago before FFL, and I knew about it for a long time. Actually, I think, Dan, you and I talked about it like 5-6 years ago, and I'm like, I don't think I need that. I heard about it. I used it for one day, and it was like the same day when I got a cell phone for the first time. I was like, I don't need a cell phone, people tracking me down. I had it for one day, and I'm like, man, how did I live without this? So it's like that. It's that good. All right. So, with phone burner, you can make about 80 dials an hour. Anyway, moving right along, scheduling. So again, I'm talking about the in-home schedule, 30 appointments a week. Again, we'll touch on some telesales stuff in a minute, but Mondays and Thursdays, this whole time until up a few weeks ago, I started doing more telesales personally. It was Mondays and Thursdays. You knew where I was. I was only going to be in the same spot. Michelle could set her watch by where I was going to be. If it was a Monday or Thursday, right? I'm in the chair in the office making phone calls for Tuesday, Wednesday, and on Thursday for Friday, Saturday. That's it. Okay. And so again, if you set yourself up right, you can absolutely get that done now. So with that schedule, 30 appointments a week. So let's talk about some, it's not a lead training, right? I'm just going to kind of mention a few things, right? What I'll tell you about leads, they all work, right? Sometimes people want like the best lead. There's not one, right? I had some $40 leads today that, they said they didn't fill it out. They yelled at me. Somebody called me a bad name, hurt my feelings, right? I was like, man, I spent $40 to get called a bad name. My first 3 months, I helped 100 families my first 3 months. And I did that all on the $11 internet leads, right? So those are great. I was talking to Daniel Abbott earlier today, and he told us on a training earlier, he was helping a ton of families on the $4 1-month-old leads. So, all the leads work, whether they're 6 months old, a month old, they all have pros and cons. That's what you need to know about it. So like, I wouldn't get caught up too much in, this, that, or the other thing. Start where you can start. And then what is important is to diversify your lead flow. Diversify the different types of your leads, right? So maybe you have some internet leads. Maybe that's kind of the bulk of what you start on. That was for me. But then I started adding in some, final expense direct mailers, right? Then, I got over being afraid of mortgage protection. Oh my gosh, it's scary. It's this bigger thing. You're looking at people having a, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 house or whatever the case may be. And you're like, I don't want to mess that up or whatever the case may be. It's simple, right? Hey, this pays off if, this pays off your mortgage if you pass away. And so I started adding in some of the 1 and 2 and 3 month old mortgage protection. And why you want to diversify, here's what's going to happen once you start to diversify your lead flow. Right? Every lead on planet Earth for any industry, I've worked all kinds of different leads for over a decade. They're ebb and flow, right? Sometimes they're super available. Sometimes they're less available. Sometimes, the way they're generated, people are like, yes, definitely come over. Can you sign me up right now? And other times they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Even on direct mail cards, they can, with a blue pen, write their name and all their information, take the time to take it down to the post office, lick a stamp and mail it back, and they will convince you that they didn't fill it out and you paid $70 for that lead. Like, it happens on all of them. But if you have a diversified lead flow, you're not dependent on any one thing, right? When that happens, you're going to automate your lead flow, right? So if up until now you like dial day comes and you're like scouring the CRM to try to piece together, 100 leads from all the different types, so you can, try to have a good rent schedule, like you want to automate it, right? So I have leads that come in every day, whether, it's automatic, hit my account, right? And so I don't have to, that's one less thing I have to think about, one less thing that I can fall behind the 8 ball on, right? And what's happened as a result of that, my average premium per house has gone up and the time I have to spend on the phone has gone down, right? So, don't be afraid of any kind of leads, right? There's third-party vendors as well. If anybody has questions about those, let me know. Let me know and give you some resources. But bottom line is you want to use all the parts of your license, right? Final expense, general life insurance, mortgage protection, you want to use the whole thing. Okay. So that's that. Kenny, nice one. So let's talk about script. Let's talk about, if you haven't got the internet lead script, I'll put it in the gloves off WhatsApp chat when we're done here. But that script I've used the entire time. A lot of folks that in the agency, we all use that. But here's what I'll tell you. Almost every script is pretty much the same except for the intro. Another place for a bunch of scripts are fflamerica.com. You go to scripts, there's scripts on all of it. I've used all of them. They're great, right? But really the only thing that's different is the intro, right? And we'll talk about that. But, even before, there's the words that you say, but more importantly is the mental game and the tonality, right? You can say the right words, but if you don't have the tonality, the cadence, and everything else right, you might not even get out of the gate. So, so let's talk about that. The mindset that you want to have, right, before you even hit the phones is, this is a job. Now, I know we're all like entrepreneuristic here, and we don't like to work for people. That's why we're here. We want to control our own destiny. Yes, all that's true. But you want to get in the mindset of, they make me do this. This is just some dumb job, and I have to do it. Right? You'll see why here in a second. Now, that sounds super boring. And if anybody has been on live dials, you're like, these people are the most boring people that I've ever seen. When I started getting on, I was like looking at Tanika, watching her dial the phone. I'm like, why is she even here if she hates it so much? Like, that's what I was thinking. And because when you get a call, if somebody calls you, you have no idea, and they go, hey, Tanika, they're like, okay, you're selling me something, click. Right? That's not going to work. Right? So, that's number one. Number two is, no matter what lead type that you're working, okay, they filled it out. Now, again, I've had people on every single lead type at every single price point try to convince me that they didn't fill it out, but they did. Right? Whether it be, like, I've had a direct mail piece, right? It's their handwriting. They're like, I didn't fill that out. It's like, come on. Or, maybe it's a call-in confirmation. It's like, there's a call-in confirmation with a recording, you filled it out. Or the internet leads. It's like, like they filled it out. Now, a couple different types of people that fill things out. Now, I don't know about you. I would not fill out a form online. I think that's kind of weird. I personally wouldn't do it. If I had to go buy life insurance and I couldn't sell it to myself, like I know enough people, I'd ask around, I'd find somebody. I would not fill out a form and invite a stranger over to my house or to talk to on the phone. I wouldn't. So if you're trying to put your mind and go, well, I wouldn't say this or I wouldn't do this, you probably wouldn't fill out a form either. So you can't really think like the people that we're talking to think, right? And so they definitely filled it out. Now, maybe, they were, we're all busy. We have our phones on all the time. Maybe they did it and they were thinking about it. They were, they had their mind on something else. Maybe they were playing Candy Crush. Maybe they were eating too much ice cream at 2:00 in the morning. Like, who knows what was going on when they filled that out. So like, don't get hung up on it. The other thing is like, sometimes people like, well, Dan, I mean, I have your birth date. I have your address. I mean, you filled it out. That's not an argument that you're going to win. You're not going to win anything on the phone, right? So just don't even try, right? Like they go, I didn't fill it out. Yes, you did. And like, they're just going to get mad and hang up on you and tell you you're wrong. And next thing you know, like your energy's all off and you're taking that on to the next call. So I'm just letting you know up front, like not up in here. Don't play that game. Don't sign up for that. That's going to ruin your dial day. So, right. So you got the tonality. So for me, I remember Michelle and I went on vacation to Cabo. I had a great time. Was all excited. I get back and I'm ready to dive into work and my energy was just like too high. I'm like, yeah. I get back on the phones. And like, I was struggling for like a week. And for me, like, I just have to bring my energy like down a little bit. I talk real low, Hey, Tanika, this is Josh Lockhart, right? Like that's my phone voice. So like right now, how I'm talking to you, like I would not talk this way on the phone, right? So I just bring that way, way down. I almost whisper sometimes. And the lower I talk, people they try to hear what you're saying. Okay. So just a couple things about the setup. All right. So let's jump into the script. I'm going to go through the script real quick. Again, we'll post it in the WhatsApp chat after the call. So like if anybody's like, hey, I want the script, we'll post it. You probably already have it, but let me see. Tanika, can I pick on you for a minute? You role play with me. You can come off mute. There we go. So you can just be the customer. This time be the nice customer. Right. You just the one that just answers my questions in book. I'm going to go through the whole thing. So first things first, how I intro the call, and then we'll just go right through it. And this is going to be just a general internet lead. Okay. So ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Tanika.
Yeah,
Tanika, this is Josh Lockhart. Just getting back to you on the online form that came into our office from you today about the life insurance here in Fulton County. I'm just the one assigned to get the info out to you. I got a delivery address to confirm here of 123 Main Street. Is that current?
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. And also have a birth date of 2/8/92. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. Well, I'll have you off here in about 30 seconds. But listen, most people that fill these out, their main concern is when they pass away, they don't want to leave any burdens for like barely cremation. Some people want to leave something behind for their family. Is that kind of what you were thinking or something else?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just leave some stuff behind for the family. Make sure they don't have to struggle.
Got it. Okay. Well, it looks like, there's about a dozen options that you can qualify for. We work with all the state regulated companies and they're all non-medical, right? That just means that you don't have to deal with blood, urine, doctors, things like that. They just have me as the medical underwriter, get the information out to you, verify you are who you say you are. No one's trying to get insurance in your name. And really that you're not like locked down to a hospital bed full time, but that's not you, right?
No, of course not.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. Well, listen, they have me dispatched out in the county later this week. I got to see about 30 families, get this info out to. So I don't have a ton of time. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. So again, don't have a lot of time, but I'll get you penciled in. And just so I can prepare for you, a couple questions. Are you a smoker, non-smoker?
Non-smoker.
Okay, perfect. Are you married, widowed, single, or divorced?
I'm single.
Single, great. And last question, are you working, retired, or disabled?
Yep, I'm working.
Working, got it. All right. And when do you normally get home from work throughout the week?
Usually like 4:35.
4:30, 5 o'clock. Okay, perfect. Listen, I don't have anything between 4:30 and 5. However, I do have a 5:45 or a 6:15. Do you have a preference between those two?
5:45 should work.
Okay, got it, got it. Well, very good. Real quick, if you have a pen handy, let me give you a few things for confirmation. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, great. Hey, so first of all, my name's Josh Lockhart. Okay.
Josh Lockhart.
Yep. My
Is there
telephone
an E
number.
on the end of that or just H-A-R-T?
There is not an E, H-A-R-T. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Telephone number is 616-734-2013. And so on this 123 Main Street here, is that a house, apartment, or a townhome?
Yeah, it's like a condo.
A condo. Is there like a unit number outside of the 123?
No, it's just that.
Okay, got it. And also I'm required to give you my state license number. Write this down. It's going to be 340-0669.
669. Okay.
Yep. And when I get there, I'm going to be driving a silver Ford Fusion. I got black hair, black glasses. I'll be wearing my state ID around my neck. And so when you see the silver Ford, you can put the shotgun away. This is Georgia. All right. And since it's a condo, right. Now for real, since it's a condo, is there like any special directions, a gate code or anything like that when I get there?
No, I mean, there's a little like office building, but there's usually no one there. You should be able to drive right through.
Okay, perfect. And did we say 5:45 or 6:15 tomorrow?
5:45.
5:45, got it. If you would give me a little bit of wiggle room on each time of that, each side of that, right? Atlanta traffic is a little bit crazy, but I do really well. So I look forward to meeting you around 5:45 tomorrow, and I look forward to meeting you and helping you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, take care. All right, and that's it. Okay, so a couple things, and we'll kind of run back into it here in a second. So number one is, it wasn't, hi, Tara. Hello, Tara. How are you doing? None of that. Tara. Hi, Tara. Or Tara. I'm looking at the chat. Tanika. Hi, Tanika. Very simple, straightforward. And when I started that opening line, you'll see it in the script. I didn't stop talking until I asked her to verify the address, right? Because if you pause too much, right, they're going to start talking. They're going to say who knows what, right? So I want to get that out to verify who they are before. And every time I paused, it was on a question, right? So that's number one. Number two is, as we're going through there, the script says there's these questions. And it's like, what are those questions really for? Well, it's to engage them, getting them, if they're answering questions, then we're in communication. If they stop answering questions, they're probably going to start saying, Lord knows what. But the married, single, widow, divorce thing is because I want to know if she's married, right? I don't want to be on what's called a one-legger appointment where I meet with the wife and really the husband needs to be there to make the decisions or vice versa, right? I want them both there. Also, the working, retired, disabled, if they're retired or disabled, then they're probably home during the day. But if in this case she's working, I don't want to say, well, hey, I'm available at 11 o'clock. Of course, she's going to say she's not available. So I want to clear the schedule. It's more important to find out when they're home and less important to get an actual appointment. Because sometimes people will agree to an appointment time, but they haven't really thought of, am I available? So you want to clear the schedule. And then on the end, very important to tie the appointment down. Sometimes we're so excited, we got the appointment. Yep, see you later. See you at 5:45 Saturday. And then we're like, well, why did they not show up? Because you didn't tie it down. I'm asking her questions about, is there a gate code, apartment, condo, townhome, that kind of thing. Because you don't want to get to an apartment complex and there's the gate code. You didn't ask for it. Now you can't get in. All sorts of things. So you want to tie it down, make them real. I asked her about the time several times, right? So that's that. Somebody asked, role play a virtual. So, the opening is going to be about the same. The only thing different, honestly, is once you verify the information, this was a question in the chat, right? You're going to go right into the appointment, which we are kind of a separate training. We talk about in-homes, appointments, things like that, right? So once they go, yeah, that's me, then you just kind of go right into it. All right. But so let's say, Tanika, right? We start and you say, hey, you do this one. Hey, I'm busy, right? So ring. Hi, Tanika.
Hi, who's this?
Yeah, Yep. Hey, this is Josh Lockhart. Just getting back to you. I got your online form into our office today about the life insurance programs here in Fulton County. I'm just the one assigned to get back out to you, get all the info out to you. So just confirming the delivery address. Got 123 Main Street here in Atlanta. Is that right?
Yeah, but I can't really talk right now. I'm kind of busy.
Okay, perfect. Hey, let me get you off the phone here. Do you get text messaging?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, great. Hey, listen, again, they just had me, I'm the one to get the information out to you. They got me dispatched out in the county tomorrow and Saturday. I'll pencil you in. Any reason you wouldn't be home Saturday between 11 and 12?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, awesome. They had me getting the info out to you. I'll send you a text as soon as we hang up with the details, the confirmation, my information, everything you need. But look for that and just hit me back with a text once you get it. But I look forward to seeing you between 11:30 and 12 on Saturday. Take care.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
All right. So, if you, in that scenario, right, they're rushing, they're trying to get you off the phone. Hey, I'll call you back. Right. So, being like, hey, well, this only takes a minute, right? You're going to be saying that as they're hanging up on you. So I'm like, hey, no problem. Do you get text messaging? So what that does is that interrupts their pattern. It gets them to go, oh, they're just going to send me a text and let me off the phone. So they're agreeing to like stay on the phone for a couple more seconds. And if you notice, I skipped all the stuff. I didn't do the, hey, are you married? And because they're going to hang up on me here in a second. And I'm just, hey, they got me dispatched out. That's my favorite line. If I feel like maybe I'm not going to get the appointment, or, maybe they're going to hang up on me, that's my Hail Mary, right? Any reason you wouldn't be home, and just pick a time between such and such and such and such. No, I should be home. Okay, great. Blah, 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 blah. I'll text you, hit me back. See you then. Right. So here's the other thing, right? Maybe you've heard about this live dial stuff. From what I've seen in the last 11 months that I've been here, there's two types of people. There's the types of people that are on live dials that set all the appointments and help the most families. And then there's people that do it by themselves and don't set a lot of appointments and don't help a lot of families, right? Why is that? Well, number one, it's like, we're all independent, entrepreneurialistic, all the stuff. But I don't care who you are, myself included. I've been dialing the phone for over a decade, different industries, whatever. But when I'm with people, it breaks up the monotony, right? Like, especially when Tanika's like laughing because something's going on in the background, it makes the whole experience a little bit more joyous than just staring at the wall, making lots of phone calls, right? That's number one. Number two is still to this day, right? I hear other people who, are good on the phone, and I'll hear word tracks that they say, and I'm like, man, that was so good. I heard one a couple of weeks ago. This person goes, hey, I already have a policy. And most people are like, oh, they already have a policy off the phone. This guy goes, well, hey, they just had me get the information out. We got some extended options for you. So they just want me to get these out to you. Okay, extended options. Now, what does that really mean? Well, like, people are used to hearing like, that's like a buying term. They might hear that on a commercial and they go, oh, that makes sense. There's additional options I'm unaware of. Okay, fine. And he goes, I just got to get the information out to you. So I used that and I'm like, book some appointments. It like really, really worked. I wouldn't have got that had I not been on live dials. The other thing, if you're new and, maybe you're just trying to get your feet wet, get going here, right? The only way to get better is to do it a bunch of times. But you've heard the saying, practice makes perfect. That's a little bit incorrect. Practice makes permanent. So if you practice the wrong thing, you're just getting a bad habit ingrained into you over and over and over again, right? So the only other way to get better is to get outside coaching, right? Maybe somebody can hear something that you're doing or not doing, saying, not saying, your tonality's off, whatever the case may be. So you can take one-on-one time, which, we're all super busy. That's kind of tough to do. Or you can just be on live dials and unmute. I promise you, if you're on live dials and you unmute and let other people listen to you, you're going to be better, for the simple fact that no one wants to be embarrassed and look dumb. I don't want to look dumb in front of you guys. So I'm going to try harder to book the appointment, right? I'm not just going to let somebody give me, like a weak excuse and then go, oh, didn't get them that time. I'm going to try harder. That's just me, right? Not to mention, right, we have a good group of people that go, hey, next time, try this. This is what I do. And you go, okay, great. So I booked plenty of appointments before I started getting on live dials, but I got way better and booked up faster once I was on. Okay. It just is what it is. You know, it's that's my challenge to you. Now, the ones that you're on live dials, I see you guys, you know, you're getting better. I see your numbers every week on the appointments you're setting, the things that you're doing. So keep that going. All right. I'm looking at the question here. They talk over me. Okay. Not a huge thing here, right? Like, you know, say, hey, they get, you know, past anybody, they don't get, you know, you get maybe a sentence out and they're already hanging up on you. Like, all the tips that we're talking about, all the rebuttals, all the things, like nothing's 100%, right? So you just have to make more phone calls. You have to make more dials, right? And, you know, if you're anything like me, I want the result, right? I'm doing this to get a certain result for my family, right? I'm not trying, some people, honestly, this is you, like, no hate, right? Like, some people are trying to figure out the least amount of the work they can do for the result, right? I'm not wired that way. I just want the result no matter what I have to do for it. Again, no hate, you know, we're all different. But in the beginning, I had to dial the phone 600 times. Now, that sounds crazy, but A, I was using phone burner. So I'm doing 3 times the dials in the same time it takes you to hand dial. And B, we're triple dialing. I thought that was kind of weird. Triple dial, you're going to dial someone back to back 3 times. Like, that's aggressive. Well, it works. Like, it works. I was kind of like a skeptic, but I'm like, well, hey, these people are telling me to do it. I'm just going to do it and see what happens. I remember this was my first week in the business. I get this lady on the phone. Her name was Stacy. She answered the phone. She's like, what? And I got my voice on. So I'm like, hi, Stacy. Yeah. Hey, Stacy, this is Josh Lockhart. I'm like talking super low. And like over the call, she's like, okay. No objections. She books with me. I go meet her. The most pleasant human being I've ever met. She was awesome. We had a great time. She's been a customer the entire time, right? She didn't answer on the first 2 rings. Had I stopped at 2, wouldn't have booked it, right? So when I say 600, right, that's really 100 leads called through twice in a day if I have to, right? So, you know, you have to be prepared to, if that's you, if you're like, I need the result, I need 30 appointments a week, I need to go out and hit X, Y, and Z, you have to be prepared mentally to do that. So, you know, you have to get up early, you have to get going in the day. If you get behind, you're not going to be able to make that many dials. Okay. And then, so that's that. If anybody has any questions, let me know. But again, I mean, the whole thing here, it's simple. It's more of a mental game than anything, right? We can talk about the word tracks, we can talk about the scripts, we can talk about the objections, but if you really want to get it down, you have to practice, right? So if you haven't practiced your script, right, and I say, hey, you know, I'm just picking on you guys because I can see you. Hey, Chris, good to see you, Chris Smith, by the way. You're looking good, man. But hey, if I say, hey, Chris, go ahead and give me your script, and like you can't do it, that no stress, no problem. That just means you haven't done enough times. So you either need to get on the phone or you need to practice it. So when I started, Michelle was, you know, she was my big bad customer, and she would hang up on me a lot. Right. So I had to keep going through it. And, you know, because I didn't want to like do all the practicing on my money on the real customers. All right. So you have to go through that and get the tonality right, get all those things correct. And what'll happen is, you know, you'll make more appointments. If you get more appointments, you'll get better in the home. If you get better in the home, you're going to help more people, you're going to make more money. Right. And again, if you are struggling, don't be, you know, the person that's just like, I can't do this. Like, you have to reach out to somebody, whether it's me, you know, team up with somebody, be on live dials, do something, anything. Even if you like record yourself for 30 minutes and go, hey, would you listen to this and give me some feedback? Like, we've done that before. And it could be something like you're saying everything right, you sound fantastic, but you're missing the part where you clear the schedule. And that's why all your appointments no-show. You're setting tons of appointments, but you're getting a ton of no-shows because you're not clearing the schedule. It could be that simple.